What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Abel, and I'm back with another video. And today's video is going to be a weekly outlook, pretty much just going over my favorite setups that I'm going to be paying attention to going into this week. Also, we're going to take a quick look at the economic calendar so that we are all aware of what type of news events are going to happen this week so that we are prepared for the added volatility that can come with that. All right, so I just want to go ahead and give a big, massive shout out to every single one of you guys that have been supporting my videos. I appreciate you guys so much, been supporting the channel. These type of videos I am creating specifically for y'all that have been showing love. All my Noti Gang members, I appreciate you guys. If you want to be a part of Noti Gang family, all you got to do is make sure to be subscribed, comment Noti Gang down below in the chats, and also go ahead and hit the notification bell so that you are notified on every single video that I do drop on this specific channel. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into this banger. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at the economic calendar, right? We're not going to spend too much time on this, but I do want you guys to be aware of the major news releases that are actually happening for this week, right? So starting off on Monday, we do have a bank holiday for the Canadian dollar. That's something to be aware of, guys. When there is a bank holiday occurring, that means the banks are actually closed, which also means that there's probably not going to be as much liquidity in the markets for that specific currency because the banks will provide majority of the liquidity in these markets, okay? Also on Monday at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, we do have the Bank of England, the governor of the Bank of England, Andrew Bailey, going to be speaking. Anytime we have a high political figure, guys, that's going to be testifying or is going to be speaking about anything, you have to be aware that they create sentiment in this market. And a lot of investors make decisions based on what they believe the sentiment is from what these people are speaking, right? So you definitely want to be aware of that because it could definitely bring some volatility for the pound itself. Going into Tuesday, we do have Euro data getting released, Euro news with PMI information getting released at 3:30 a.m. That could definitely go ahead and shake the markets. At 12:20 p.m., guys, for the US dollar, we do have Jerome Powell that's going to be speaking. Anytime Jerome Powell opens his mouth, right, investors are definitely paying attention. So whenever he speaks, the markets just become a little bit volatile because of that. So we have to be aware of that. Going into 10 p.m. Eastern for the New Zealand dollar, guys, we do have major news with the official cash rate, the monetary policy statement, the rate statement, and then the press conference following that. Again, this is an interest rate decision. We all should be aware now, guys, that inflation is a big deal. Inflation is something that is causing a lot of fear and uncertainty in the markets because the price of goods just continue to go higher and higher and higher while wages do not increase whatsoever. And that is a big deal, guys, that a lot of these central banks have to try to fight and combat. One way that they're doing that is by raising rates. So the fact that, the New Zealand dollar has the official cash rate, it could bring and it should bring, and it most likely will bring a lot of volatility to this specific asset in itself, okay? We have to be aware of this, guys, right? This is a big deal, right? So if you're going to be trading any New Zealand pairs coming up this week, on Tuesday, be mindful that we do have the official cash rate getting released. Going into Wednesday, we do have FOMC meeting minutes. Anything to do with FOMC, guys, is very important. Again, just because of what I just spoke about, inflation and interest rates going up. FOMC, guys, is the committee that actually dictates what interest rates should go, what interest rates should do at every single meeting. Okay, so whatever they say here, whatever happens here can definitely influence these markets as well. And we just have to be aware of that. That's on Wednesday. Going into Thursday, we do have a few bank holidays that are going to affect the Swiss franc and the euro. So we have to be mindful. There might not be as much liquidity in the markets for those specific days for those currencies. At 8:30 a.m., we do have GDP numbers getting released for the US. That's a big deal. Okay. And then on Friday, to close out the week with major news, we do have core PCE price index for the US dollar at 8:30 a.m. as well. So again, if you're new to trading and you don't really understand fundamentals, at the very least for now, just be aware of when news is getting released so that you can go ahead and protect yourself in the best way that you truly believe is possible, right? But if you understand news, then guys, this is the time where you can really leverage news to really find some good opportunities to get into the market and some opportunities that you can actually go ahead and position yourself for a nice long, ride, a nice long day trade, a nice long swing trading opportunity. So this is things that we have to be aware of. Now let's go ahead and get straight into the actual charts. Like I said, I don't want to make this video too long, but let's take a look at what we got here, guys. So looking at the dollar index, you always want to get in the habit, guys, either at the beginning of the week or when you're coming to a new pair, a new chart, a fresh chart. always go to the higher time frame. You want to be able to get the bigger picture from a technical standpoint first so that you are aware of what can potentially happen in these markets. So right here, guys, we're looking at the dollar index from the weekly perspective. And a big reason why this is important is because, I mean, the dollar has been absolutely on fire ever since, last year, right? 2021, we pretty much found this support down here and then just ended up starting to fly. Big reasons for that is obviously because of COVID. All these stimulus checks that were being printed left and right, it was causing the supply of the dollar to really increase tremendously. So demand was dropping overall at the beginning of COVID. But then, right, once COVID really started to at least get, I'm not going to say fully under control, but somewhat under control, we found this support, and then the dollar started to rebound because of that. Now, a big reason for that is because the economy started to absolutely get destroyed. Right? We've seen the economy, guys, really get wrecked. And when investors start to become fearful of an economy, they typically go ahead and liquidate assets and become cash rich. Okay, COVID did play a big number in not just our economy, but economies across the entire world. So a lot of investors are they'll rather be safe than sorry and go ahead and just, become cash rich more than anything, right? So we've seen the market absolutely start to fly because of that. But look at what we also seen pretty much last week, right? And how this last weekly candle actually closed. This last weekly candle, guys, actually closed into a bearish engulfing, right? When we're talking about reading price action, these are the things that we're really talking about, right? Read price action from various key levels to try to dictate what can happen next. This bearish engulfing is pretty aggressive, right? That pretty much closed way below the previous weekly candle. So what I believe can happen this week, yes, I'm still going to be long-term bullish because we are still dealing with inflation. Interest rates are still going up, which is also going to cause, a lot of investors to still stay cash heavy. But for the time being, I believe we could start to see some type of a pullback or a relief period for the US dollar, especially seeing how we're reacting right up right near this supply area, right? We could start to see a lot of investors really start to liquidate cash and start to go back into certain assets. I mean, we do have data from a fundamental standpoint that can also back that with retail sales coming out actually at predictions and actually higher than they were predicted, right? So strong retail sales numbers, which is what we seen last week, could bring some type of optimism in the markets. And yeah, we might see money flowing from the dollar back into certain assets for the time being. Now, I would not be surprised, guys, if we see the dollar itself come all the way down to around the 100 and the 99 level, right? Coming back to retest previous levels of structure. Now, like I said, I am long-term bullish the dollar for now, right? And we do have catalytic reasons for this, okay? We do have interest rate decisions coming up next month, okay? We do have inflationary reports also coming out next month, and all that stuff and all those numbers that come out, I just think it's going to continue to send the dollar flying because I do not see them getting inflation under control as fast as they think they could get it, right? Right now, they're being very aggressive, guys, with raising interest rates and reducing the balance sheet to try to get it under control. But inflation is just on a whole nother level right now. So because of the inflationary numbers that are about to come out next month, because of the fact that they're still going to be raising interest rates, they're planning, 3-4 more interest rate hikes this year. And right now they're planning 50 basis points interest rate hikes, guys, which is going to cause the dollar to absolutely fly. So I do think we could see some type of a relief period coming into this week. But then eventually, I'm not sure if it's going to happen next week or the following week, but eventually I do see us continuing to go higher for the USD. Okay, so that's pretty much where we're at, guys, from a bigger perspective, looking at the market from the higher time frame, right? So I'm going to be looking for the market to either give us a pullback, but then eventually go ahead and roll over to the downside. Okay, that's my opinion. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look at a few opportunities and see what we can ultimately come up with as well, based on what we just looked at for the dollar. Okay, so we're looking at here, guys, the Euro USD, which is one of my favorite pairs to trade. A big reason for that is just because it does the exact opposite of the dollar, right? This chart right here that we were just looking at, the dollar index, it's an index that measures the dollar against a bucket of other currencies. And that bucket is made up of, majority of it is the euro, right? That's why they have such a strong negative correlation with each other. So I believe if the dollar has a potential to actually go ahead and correct and drop in value, then that will make the euro gain some value. Okay, so I think we could start to see, guys, a pullback, a deeper pullback for the euro coming into this week. In fact, I'm going to be looking for buying opportunities around the 1.05 level with a long-term, not long-term projections, but, you know, with a different, with a deeper possibility of price really going much higher. So what I'm going to be looking for, right? Again, look at price action. We see this higher high be created. We're now starting to pull back. If we're able to really get an entry, or if we're able to see price come all the way back down to around this 105 level, 1.05 level, that is an area, guys, that I really think we'll be able to catch a nice buying opportunity from, to not only come test up to around 106.4, 1.064, 1.065, but I really think we can see price come all the way up to around 1.07 and even maybe around 1.08 as well. Okay, so overall, I'm liking what we're seeing here in terms of fundamental bias with this possible, you know, relief in dollar, you know, bullishness, which can give the euro a lot of strength. But I'm also liking the technicals from it as well, where we are now starting creating a higher high, potential higher low sequence. And if we could break this high right here at around 1.063, then I definitely expect a lot more bullishness up to around 1.075 and also 1.083. Okay, so that's where I'm standing at for this week, guys, going into the euro. Definitely looking very, very juicy, something to very, you know, to be aware of. Now, looking at the pound dollar, very similar, guys. I do think that we can also see, you know, a deeper pullback for the pound dollar. You know, looking at this from the daily time frame, we have been very, very aggressive, right? The dollar has become tremendously weak against the USD, but almost everything has become very, very weak against daddy dollar that we've been experiencing, right? The dollar has just been so strong, has been so on fire, that every single asset is pretty much, you know, declining against the dollar. But since we do have a potential possibility of a relief, I think we can really start to see, guys, more bullishness for the pound as well. I will be looking at around the 1.24 levels, anywhere up in this range, for me to go ahead and look for some long opportunities for the pound. Okay, really what I want to see is price to come back down here. As you guys can see the arrows, somewhere back in this range down here, previous level of structure. And then from there, we can go ahead and see if we can catch a rally higher, right? So that's going to be my main thing that I'm going to be looking at going into this week for the pound dollar. If we do correct a little bit deeper, I'm still going to be anticipating a bullish move, because what I'm really going to be playing off, guys, is, yeah, I see that overall level there, but I'm really going to be playing off of this whole range that we have here, right? This whole impulsive move that we've seen that ultimately broke a significant level of structure. Yeah, we had this higher low created, and technically we spiked above the high, but we technically closed back below this high right here. So that could always lead to a deeper correction as well. If that happens, I'm still going to be expecting bullishness, right? I just have two different points of interest that I'll be paying attention to. My first one is going to be, again, right around here at around the 1.24 level. My second point of interest, if that one doesn't work, then it's going to be around here at around the 70% level for around 1.226 level. And then from there, we'll be looking for that catalyst to go higher, right? But overall, my bias is definitely to continue to the upside. It's just a matter of being patient and letting price tell us exactly what area we will see a reaction from. So either we're going to bounce off 1.24 or we're going to bounce off 1.226 level and then potentially go ahead and see more upside. And if we do get that, guys, like, I'm expecting a very deep correction, right? I want to see all of this fast price action move right here. All of this right here, I want to see that get corrected. Okay, so if we are, and when we are able to get that entry, then I'm going to be expecting price to come all the way up to around the 1.3 level, right? 1.3 round psychological level. So just understand, guys, we do have some longer term targets here if we are able to go ahead and catch that entry for pound dollar. So I really like down here either around 1.226 or around 1.24 to go ahead and really get us all the way up around 1.3 level. So that's something I'm going to be keeping my eyes on going into this week for sure. And yeah, we'll see how that ultimately plays out. I also want to bring up, guys, New Zealand dollar, right? Because this is something that, again, I haven't really looked too much at, but since we do have interest rates coming up, right? And since we do have the potential weakness of the dollar, again, that's just a potential, right? If data changes because the dollar ends up breaking structure or something like that, then we'll have to change as well. But with the potential raise of rates, that might make the New Zealand dollar a little bit attractive, right? Especially if we, for the time being, we go into more of a risk on sentiment. This is a riskier asset that we have here with the New Zealand dollar because typically it's paying out higher yields. But if the dollar does become weak, then this also has a potential to really gain a lot of strength, especially with interest rates going up over there, which is what they're predicting. Then this could really be an attractive move to go higher. So looking at the New Zealand dollar, guys, going into this week, I'm definitely going to be very interested in seeing if we're able to get some type of an entry down here at around the 0.63 level. Okay, let me go ahead and just bring out the fibs, right? So you guys can see, I'll just give you a little bit a better insight of what I'm looking at, right? Anywhere in between the 78.6 and the 88.6 level for the New Zealand dollar, I really believe that we can have a good opportunity to go ahead and catch a nice long-term opportunity for NZDUSD. So this is definitely another one that I'm going to be keeping my eyes on. You know, if we are able to go ahead and get an entry for NZDUSD to push higher, I do believe, again, long-term, we will be bearish on this. But for the time being, I think we can definitely see price, guys, come up to around the 0.653 level, right? 0.652, 0.653. So if we are able to go ahead and get an entry for here, then that's pretty much where I'm going to be, you know, targeting, you know, back onto the upside, which is around 200 pips to the upside, guys. So not a bad play here, okay? But it's definitely something I'm going to be keeping my eyes on just because, you know, lining the technicals with the potential fundamentals and with interest rates for the New Zealand dollar, the Kiwi, it just might give us a really, really good play, you know, something that we could really take advantage of. So that's what I'm going to be looking at going into this week as well for the New Zealand dollar. And yeah, let's go take a look at something else now, right? Let's take a look at gold, see what we got here for gold. I know gold is a fan favorite just because it is extremely volatile. And I mean, we've been calling out buys for gold, you know, for a while now, right? Obviously, lately, we haven't really had no strong opportunities to do so because we have seen, again, even gold really lose a lot of value against daddy dollar over here. But we did just play off a very strong demand zone, right? And this demand zone, guys, will really started this big catalytic move to break 2,000 level. Okay, we did get a very strong reaction from there. And I would not be surprised, guys, if we do see a nice pullback for gold from these levels, right? I'm really anticipating a few levels to get tested, right? My first level is going to be around 1876, 1870s for gold. And then eventually I will also like to see maybe the 1950s levels, 1915 levels for gold to get tested as well, okay? So let's go to lower time frame and see what we can ultimately find. Now, on the lower time frame, guys, we are on the 2 hour, 1 hour time frame. We're just going to flip between both of these, right? We do have a lot of momentum that came into play last week, right? With this fast moving price action right here. I would love to see price if we can go ahead and give us some type of a pullback from these levels all the way back down to around the 1820 levels. And then from there, guys, that's really where I'm going to start looking for some opportunities to really go ahead and get long on gold, right? I already gave you guys my targets from a big perspective. Now it's just a matter of seeing if price can give us a pullback, go ahead and correct a lot of this move, a lot of this imbalance. And then from there, we can go ahead and potentially look for a massive move higher, right? So gold is definitely going to be one we'll be playing into this week. It's definitely going to be a pair that I'm going to be looking at and something I'm going to be trying to take advantage of, right? Because like I said, you know, gold is a fan favorite because it is extremely volatile. I mean, if we're able to get an entry down here at around 1824 and ride it up to my first key level, that's around 400 pips. Okay, so we're definitely going to be looking to take advantage of that. But overall, you know, it's not looking bad. I just need to see a deeper correction first before I want to go ahead and get involved. Now, the last one I'm going to be looking at is another fan favorite, and that is GJ, right? Pound yen. You know, pound yen has definitely been a fan favorite as well because for currency pair matters, like this is actually another volatile one, right? Extremely volatile asset or pair, you know, that does move pretty quickly. So with that said, what do I think can happen here for GJ? We are at very interesting areas and very interesting levels, guys, for pound yen. Now, in my opinion, I think we will go long-term bullish for pound yen, but I think we could see a deeper correction first maybe to come and retest these levels of structure down here, okay, at around 154, 155 level, 154.5, yeah, 154.5 level. And then from there, we can go ahead and really see the pound just gain massive strength against the yen, right? That is just my opinion. But I'm also going to be aware that if prices ends up breaking back above, say around 161 level, then from there, I'll just be more so tempted to go ahead and just continue buying this. Okay, because again, especially if the pound does start to gain strength over the dollar, then that could possibly go ahead and cause this to really gain a lot of strength against the yen. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes on this level, right? Depending on how we pretty much play around this 160 level, it's really going to tell me what we can be expecting next. If we end up engulfing this previous day, then we're probably going to go ahead and reach all the way down to around 154.5. If we end up back, continuing in another bullish day, then I just see more upside for sure. And then we could reach, all the way back up to potentially even these highs at around 167, but overall, guys, it's all about really just reading the markets, using the data that you have, trying to find the best probable opportunity, because trading is all about probabilities, and then just dealing with whatever happens afterwards, right? One thing about me, guys, is I take a trade based off what I believe can happen based off the probabilities, and then I just deal with the consequences afterwards, right? Whether they're positive or or negative, it really doesn't matter. I deal with the consequences, I adjust to what the market is telling me, and then I go ahead and find the next probable opportunity. But with that being said, family, I do appreciate you guys. It's going to be a phenomenal week this week. Those are the setups I'm going to be looking for and the targets that I'm going to be expecting. I hope you guys are able to try to correlate with what you believe. If it makes sense to you, let me know in the comments down below. If you disagree with something that I'm saying, let me know down in the comments below, and we can go ahead and start a conversation around that. But overall, let's continue to grow. Let's continue to get better. And I appreciate you guys for watching this video. And I'll see you guys on my live streams that I host every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday right here on YouTube, so that we can all continue to get better together. All right, family, I appreciate y'all. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's get it.